My fiancé almost died in a car accident. That's when my mother-in-law told me he cheated on me with an ex. Now that he's recovering well, I feel so guilty for wanting to end it. I feel like a horrible person. We are supposed to get married on August 20th in a small ceremony. I've been with my fiancé, I'm 34, for 6 years and engaged for 1. The best years of my life. He's brilliant in every way, or so I thought. The accident happened 6 weeks ago. A drunk driver hit my fiancé's car. I spent the worst night of my life in the hospital waiting for answers from the doctors, and he went through hours and hours of surgery. His parents and brothers were also there, waiting. I've always loved his family, and they love me. His mom was, one of my favorite people, and we got along very well. She was happy to have me as her first daughter-in-law. She's religious, and when my fiancé was hovering between life and death, she was worried about his sins, so she told me that he cheated on me about 2 months ago with an ex he bumped into. She explained that it was because of the wedding and the stress of planning it. Apparently, I've been both stressed out and stressing him out. He had a weak moment, it was a one-time thing, and he regretted it so much. He asked his parents for advice on what to do, and they told him not to say anything. As long as he's remorseful and as long as it was me he wanted, he should forget about what he did and move on. His whole family knew. After the hospital, he moved back to his parents' house because we live in a flat without lifts. I visit him every day. I haven't told him that I know, and his family is acting like nothing has changed. They're very happy he's doing better, and understandably so, and my presence by his side is very helpful, according to him and his family. Now both my fiancé and his parents are talking about us being able to get married on the day we set. After all, I feel awful because I don't want that. Our relationship was over the moment I found out about the cheating. I stayed because I loved, and still do, him, and I wanted him to feel better. I couldn't break his heart while he's recovering. I also thought the wedding was postponed and that we would have more time for him to recover fully and be strong and independent again, so I could leave with a clear conscience. I tried to speak to his mom today, but she just started hyperventilating and kept telling me not to do this. She made a mistake by telling me that I shouldn't take advantage of what she said in desperation to punish him and kill his spirit. He's still recovering, and he needs me. I have been thinking since my talk with his mom about everything, and I'm so angry at him. I'm ashamed that even when I was worried about his life, I was very angry and resentful. We were supposed to have our wedding in this beautiful manor house that he found that was all-inclusive. With our most important people. My best friend is a DJ, and my parents paid for the whole thing even though they're much poorer, so I don't know where the stress has come from. We fixed everything in a week. I'm so angry, and I've kept bottling it up since the accident. I'm afraid I'm going to explode soon. Update 2. I told my fiancé that I knew about his infidelity and canceled the wedding. He still wants a second chance. I wrote here 3 days ago, before I talked to my fiancé. This is after I told him I knew about his cheating. I started by telling my parents, who are paying for the wedding, about what happened and that I'm canceling the wedding. Hopefully, they can get back some of what they paid via their home insurance. I have told them that I'm going to pay the rest of the damages. My dad refused. I insisted. It's not up to them. Since my fiancé still lives with his parents, I felt that I would be outnumbered if I went alone to end it. Texting or making a call wasn't an option since he meant a lot more to me than that, and I really wanted to see his face and ask, WTF? I also wanted him to see my pain. I don't want it to be comfortable for him. Cheaters must see the hurt they cause and hopefully learn from it. I took my mom with me. When I told him that the wedding was off and the reason why, he started crying. He told me all the things they said in desperation. He was foolish. He didn't think. He was stressed out. He was scared. It meant nothing. He regretted it. He didn't want to tell me because it meant nothing, and he didn't want to hurt me. I should give him a chance to prove himself and his loyalty. He can ask his parents to pay for the wedding. We can postpone the wedding indefinitely. I can take the apartment, and he will live with his parents. As long as it takes for me to forgive him. I haven't cried as much as I did when I was listening to his bullshit and afterwards on my way home. How could he do this to me? He didn't give me a satisfying answer to why he did this to me. To us. I have cried myself to sleep every night since the accident, and yet I cry like I've just found out. I'm going to stay in the apartment that we bought together, and he will stay with his parents. Prices have gone down these last couple of months, and we both agreed that we don't want to sell for less than what we paid. But the moment it goes up again, we're selling. I have started packing his things now, and tomorrow I'm renting a van to move his things to his parents' house. Sorting out his stuff and packing his clothes made it real for me. I didn't expect it to be so emotional. Why do I still love him so much? He has been texting me, and he has called me twice. We talked mostly about mundane stuff but also about us and our relationship. His mom has called me to say that she felt guilty for first not advising him to come clean but for later divulging his secret to me without his permission. She was disappointed that I took advantage of her moment of panic, but she understood that I'm hurt. She said he would do his best to win me back. I'm a bit irritated about the fact that none of them, including my parents, believe that it's really over, and I don't have the energy to prove my point either. I just need some alone time now and some peace and quiet. My family left me on the streets at 16. Now, 30 years later, they want to make up for lost time. Okay, as a mild lurker on Reddit, I thought I would share my story and the newest development in my life after 30 years. It might be a bit long, but I will do my very best to give you context without too much fluff. I hope this is the right sub. So I lost my mom when I was 12 to breast cancer. So that just left me and my dad. It was a tough time, but we got through it together. When I was 14, my dad met and married my stepmother Ashley, who brought with her my stepbrother Mark, 14, and stepsister Emily, 12. I got along with Ashley and Emily really well, but with Mark, not so much so. He and I were away, getting into arguments and fights. I was always told by my dad to give Mark a break because he's been the man of his house for a while. So this is all new. Like somehow it wasn't new to me? Anyway, when I was 15, I met a girl at school named Lisa, and we started dating. As much as one can date at 15. However, Mark apparently had a crush on her and was so mad that I asked her out. He started a fight over it, in which my dad had to intervene once again. And somehow I was again made to be the bad guy. One day after my 16th birthday, my stepmom was putting away my laundry and started yelling. Which was awkward because my girlfriend Lisa was there. We all ran, thinking the worst. When we got to my room, my stepmom was holding several pairs of my sister's underwear and yelling at me why they were in my drawer. I had no answer, as I'd never seen them before. Of course, no one believed me. No matter how much protesting I did, then Mark piped up, saying he always caught me staring at his sister, thinking it was creepy, and caught me once saying I wish I could marry her. Obviously lying, but that was all it took. Lisa slapped me, called me a perv, told me we were done, and we walked out. My dad grabbed me by the arm and threw me out of the house. He was yelling at me that he wasn't going to put his daughter at risk from a perv, not the word he used, but you get it. I banged on the door to be let in, crying and telling them it was all lies told by Mark. My dad apparently had enough. I heard the locks, and he opened the door, shoved me to the ground, and told me to get lost. I told him I had nowhere to go, and he said that wasn't his problem, then closed the door. I found myself on the streets, with nothing to my name. There is no place to go. I tried calling my dad's parents, but he had already called them, and they told me they wouldn't help a perv. My mom's parents passed away before I was born. Well, I lived on the streets for 2 years, doing what I had to in order to survive. No kid should have had to do what I had to do in order to just live. There were some really dark days. Lots of therapy later in life helped me with this. Shortly after I turned 18, I found a job working at a boxing gym, a state away from where I began this horrible journey. I worked there for years. I learned the sport. I'm never going to beat Mike Tyson, but I was good at it, which helped me with my hate and anger. Then one day I met a new girl, Ame, 20, at the cafe down the street from the gym. At this point, I was 35, I know, a huge age gap, but we just clicked. I don't believe in fate, soulmates, or anything like that, but if there is such a thing, we have it. I don't know how else to put it. We dated for 2 years and then got married. Her dad was an electrician and hired me on afterwards. I think mostly to know I would be able to support his daughter and know I was doing right by her, but also in case he needed to keep me in check. He never said this, but as a dad, I get it now. Well, 15 years later, we are still together with 4 beautiful daughters. I just passed my master's license as an electrician. Thanks to my wife for pushing me to get my GED. She has been my rock, my cheerleader, and my all-around support through this all, and I can't tell her enough how much she changed my life and how much I love her. Anyway, sorry for the tangent, so just this past weekend, I received an email from my stepsister. I'm not sure how she got my email address, but I know it isn't hard via the internet, not like I've been hiding. Mind you, I'm now pushing 53, so it's been 30 plus years since I've heard from any of them. It was a long email. I'm not going to give you all of it, but the meat of it is that they now know what really happened. Mark, I guess, was busy drinking with his buddies on Friday, and somehow my name was mentioned. Mark, I guess, started bragging about how he set me up and took my girl. Yup, Mark and Lisa got together married, all those years ago. They were all laughing, hoping I died on the streets. A bunch of rude and vile stuff. I guess he forgot Lisa was there, and she heard it all. So she called my stepsister to let her know, and so Emily spent all weekend trying to find me. Like I said, the email was long. Short of it, they want to apologize face to face, although it was already said in the email multiple times, and make up for lost time. I'm, however, indifferent to the idea. I have no ill feelings towards her. She was obviously young and had no real say in the matter. But with lots and lots of therapy, I learned to let go of that hate and anger. As well, with all the love I receive from my wife, kids, and in-laws, it's all I really need. I'm into the idea of just deleting the email and moving on like nothing happened. My wife thinks I should at least respond back, even if to say something snarky like, "Thanks for finally believing me. It only took over 30 years. Did I mention my wife has a mean or petty streak to her? She's awesome." I'm not asking for advice, I just wanted to share my story. There is a boxing quote that I have up in my house that reminds me every day. To see a man beaten not by a better man but by himself is a tragedy.